Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I'm proud to offer premium wireless for just $15 a month. And I'm proud that we have thousands of 5-star reviews from customers like Dan D. in New York, who writes, "I am satisfied customer. How can this only be $15? He wrote it in all caps. I needed you to feel it, like he feels it. I hope I did that justice, Dan. And I hope that you try Mint too at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months required. New subscribers only. Renew for 12 months to lock in savings. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com.
Welcome, guys, to this week's episode of Heavy Metal Tones. I'm your podcast host, Tony Evans. A slightly different little mixture of the show this week, just keeping you on your toes as listeners. No advert this break, this show, which will be a first. In the ad break, where it would normally sit, I'm going to be playing a track from the new album Ashes of Amber by Kunowski, which is they're a power metal band from the US, a fantastic label called The Metalist reached out to me, David, and he said, could you please talk about some of my records on your show, some of the stuff he promotes. And so this one's one that came up first, and I thought, well, why not? I really liked it. It's a great album. If you like power metal, this is like soft and light and heavy and dark and crunchy and all sorts of different textures. This is what you're going to get. You have really heavy tones, and you have really light tones and really melodic tones in this particular album. It's got a crazy range of different people on it. It's by it was originally written by Adam Kunowski. He's a multi-instrumentalist and producer. He's worked with Halloween and Firewind. He's really and it's mixed by Mika Jewissa, I think that is. Sorry, I can't read my handwriting. I apologise, Mika. Who's been with Children of Bodom, Nightwish, and Stradivarius. So Stradivaria, yeah. I think you're going to enjoy it. I hope you do. I'm going to put the lighter one of all of the mixes in the show because I don't want to hurt anyone's sensitive ears now, do we? If you're new to the medium. But I think you'll enjoy it. When we get closer to the advert, before I put it in, I'll give you a little bit of a blurb on a bit more detail on the band, a little bit more detail on David from The Metalist as well. But first things first, I might sound a little bit croaky. I've just got over a really decent dose of COVID. Now, I'm going to have a sip of my tea. I got some feedback recently. They don't like hearing me eat. I don't remember the last time I ate on a show, but Grizzly Bear, thank you for your feedback. I do have a cup of tea, though. I'm not quite sure how disgusting that is, but I do apologise for those with sensitive ears. Anyway, I'm just being a prick. It's nice to get some feedback. So positive feedback is always good, even negative. I don't mind. But anyway, I was going to say, yes, I've just got over a nasty case of COVID. So on Saturday just gone, I went to the basement, as I love to do, to see a show with my friends, my little crew of friends, like Benji and Laurie and all those people, and Wayne. It was a really great time. And it was in the back room of the basement here in Canberra, the Baso as it's now called. And it was a fantastic lineup. We had Taliesin, which is the local band, which is Wayne's. He's a drummer in the band. They're a progressive metal band. Brilliant, very, very, very understood and not played enough local band. They're cool dudes. They just want to keep playing music, and I think that's fantastic. And then we had the brilliant, fantastic Temptress from the south coast here in Australia on the coast. A heavy metal band with the most powerful female singer you're ever going to see on stage. What a fantastic act that was. Their albums are available on all good streaming platforms, as are Taliesin's. But I urge you to listen to the Temptress. Brilliant. And then, of course, afterwards we got the crazy Sydney guys from Livewire, who are just, power metal mad, like just speed and power metal and just craziness. Like they pull some unbelievable shapes. I believe the drummer is a Mr. Universe Australia. I think he's big guy. It was a sweaty and intense night, and of course the main event of the night, which is the band I'm going to talk about for the main of the show, is Riot City, a Canadian band, and they were quite possibly one of the best live bands I've seen in years. And look, I mean this sincerely, folks. I really, really do. There are times when you go to a gig, like on the Thursday previous to that, we'd gone and seen Creator with In Flames in a really big venue. And look, Creator were great. I was extremely left in the dark of how people think In Flames are amazing. And if you are an In Flames fan or fans, I don't want to alienate you. I don't get it. Early stuff, the early album, brilliant, and then it's starting to all become sort of change of direction, a little bit too much. And you're going to get this when I say this. Bounce. I don't know if you might not get it, but if you do get it, you'll understand. I'm not cool enough in the hood, I don't think, to get that band. Anyway, I've seen them now. I've done all the Swedish bigs. I've seen all the big German four. So Creator were brilliant. Big blow up demon. Lots of death. There was a big wall of death. But as I said to Nikki, and Nikki said to me, the lovely owner of the Basso, we couldn't, because they originally meant to play there, Creator, but there was no way they could have got that inflatable head into the venue. But honestly, also, for $100, and I mean this, for $100, what I spent, plus drinks, plus merch and whatever, at that gig, good that it was good. I didn't connect. And it takes. I think I've realised. I said this before on the show that I really, really much prefer that sort of intimate, small space connection. I think it's the punk in me. It's the. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I like a stadium act. I like a big act. I really do. But I think big acts in big stadiums, and I'm going to see Maiden sometime this year, and there's a big stadium act, but they make it feel intimate because of the way that they involve every single one person that goes to see them. I wasn't involved with Creator, and I wasn't involved with In Flames at all, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. Brilliant. Got a bit of a sort of a hangover. It was nice. I mean, beers are extortionate, as they are these days, so wasn't drinking, so it was nice. I mean, I had to work the next day, so I had a clear head. But whereas on Saturday night, and here's the difference: $40 for 4 bands, $10 a band at the Basso. Bloody ridiculous. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Where on earth can you pay $40 for that kind of entertainment? You just can't. I mean, 40 Australian dollars is about what, £22, about 60 US. All right, it's not. It's not a king's ransom by any means. Yet, sincerely, folks, it was. Yes, I got COVID, but. Ugh, man, you can get COVID walking into a shop. You get COVID going to the movies. You can get COVID being on a bus. It doesn't matter. The point was that it was intimate. It was sweaty. It was very, very hot. It was sing-along. There was craziness. There was every track they played, they put their fucking heart into it. All 4 bands. And then, I'm going to talk about Riot City later on, so I won't go into too much about. But they're brilliant live. Jacob's voice. I mean, I got some photographs which I'm really proud of. They were, the heat in there. There was more sweat on the floor and in the air. I mean, no one. I'm surprised they didn't all fall over. They're spitting beer everywhere. They were just having the most fun because they're cold. They're from a cold Canada, right? They're from Quebec, so it's really, really cold there. And so No, hang on. I said Quebec. I could be wrong. It's in my notes. I'll double check that. So if I'm wrong, let me just quickly check so I don't get fact checked. They're from Calgary, Alberta. Quebec's in my brain because I've got an uncle that lives out that way, I think, somewhere around that way. So that's probably why I said it. But anyway, that aside, people, they just it screamed the house down. And in the room next door, in the main stage, there was a big birthday party for I think it was a 50th birthday. I don't know, but there was like 5 cover bands, a Korn band, name it. There was a couple of different cover bands, and I can't tell you what they were missing out on. They really were missing out on something special, and I think having it in the smaller. I mean, I did air my views when I found out it was on the smaller stage. I thought, well, here's one of the world's most exciting up-and-coming speed metal bands with one of the best voices on the planet. And we're going to put him into a side room. And I was a bit like, oh, Mick, what the, what's going on? And they did. I remember I was having a chat with Mick before, and he was like, yeah, I know, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But what a choice to do it. I think in a big room with only maybe, say, 20 people, because there was about 20 people in the gig in our room, it would have felt, well, it's probably more than 20, but it only seemed to appear 20 to me. It would have felt lost, right? But the small stage, they commanded it. They flashed across that stage. They pulled shapes. They hit vocals so high that even my ear protectors they had in, my special custom-made ear protectors, didn't took too much of the brunt. I could still get a buzz in from it. And just they were just fun. Their love of power metal. They just have this, and they've enjoyed the trip, which I think is really good. They've enjoyed becoming over here, somewhere different. Spreading the word of their amazing music. And to me, it needs to be spread more, really, because I'm very thankful for Benji. Shout out to Benji. He's the one who got me on to Riot City. He was going through a speed metal phase, and picked up this particular band I'd never heard of, to be honest with you. Bought a patch, got me really excited listening to them, and then all of a sudden, bingo, they were coming to my little town, for pennies. And I was like, what? I can't believe it. And honestly, on goes the battle jacket, on goes the t-shirt, had a few lagers, got to the front, and I'm very surprised. I think because I got COVID, my hangover wasn't as bad as it could be, because I really, a very funny quip from Nick, as I emailed him to say, hey, I've got COVID, make sure you're okay because you're standing not far from me. And he said, I don't know how it got in through all that head banging. So I was really, really surprised by that. But it was a brilliant lineup, brilliant. I bought some fantastic merch. Oh my God, I spent too much money. That's okay. It is what it is. But we're going to come into the break in a minute, and we're going to, one second, I'm going to get up the bio for David, and then I'm going to the bio for Kronowski, and then I'm going to play that track, and hope you enjoy it. Please don't skip it. Please do play it. If it's not your thing, just listen to it anyway, because it may just enjoy you. This may open your mind a bit. Anyway, talk to you on the other side of this song, man. Let me just go and get the notes. Okay, guys, this is voiceover Tony. I've just paused and come back. Now I'm going to give you the blurb for Kronowski. That's Kronowski. The album is Ashes of Amber. Ashes of Amber is the first full-length album by heavy power metal band Kronowski, ranging from the heavy and the aggressive title track Amber to the moody verses and sing-along choruses of the lead single Clean, which is the one I'm going to play now after this. The album weaves through a myriad of influences while staying cemented by an ongoing principle, well-written, energetic heavy metal. All songwriting, production and performances on the album were done by the main member of the group, Adam Konowski, with lead guitar duty being rounded off by formidable Tony Lindsay and Dennis Ward of Halloween, Anger and Firewind. Handled the mixing by Mika Jusilia, I did say it wrong earlier, Children of Bodom, Nightwish and Stradivarius. Handled by the mastering, making the album world-class and experience from start to finish. So that's the album, guys. Now, for the man who sent me it. Seamless edits. Can you hear that? I'm so good at this stuff. Anyway, let me talk you. I was just trying to find out where it is. I did. You know what? I'm not really good with computers. I keep telling people this. They don't listen to me. Here we go. So, the Metalist. Okay. Oh, I've lost it again. Hold on. Let me get it in. One moment. Let me find it. Right, bear with me. I'm going to try and do tabs on tabs because, you know, it's what you come for. I'm almost there, I think. Let me have a look. Am I there? Ooh, I think I'm almost there. Anyway, you know, every day in every way, I get worse and worse. Here we go. So, The Metalist is a PR and marketing company for metal and rock bands, owned and founded by David Polito in July 2021. It is the natural landing place for David, summarising experiences and skills from many different fields of his new career. David is a drummer from 24 years. He's released one EP and one full-length album with his post-apocalyptic alternative metal band Revolutio, knows and speaks fluently 5 foreign languages, and works as an export manager for 11 years in relevant Italian corporations. The promotion of the first band starts in 2020 during this first lockdown caused by the pandemic. At the stage, PR is still a hobby, but David is moved by passion and pushed to prove something to himself. After the first months, he already promotes a couple of bands monthly, then collaborates with the first label until the end of 2020. The promotion is only made on the press and radio stations. At the beginning of 2021, David develops a new website, www.themetalistpr.com, now at the first position in the Google rankings by using the Metal PR agency tag. With the new year, he develops a wide network and a third-party playlisters on Spotify and studies how to do Google Ads campaigns to push music videos on YouTube. These services, alongside with his new PR, attract several bands from all over the world, increasing David's popularity as a new sensation in metal and rock PR. In July 2021, he gives up his previous career and persuaded by the great feedback he had from several clients, decides to establish the company The Metalist. David Polito. I hope I haven't ruined that name, my friend. The company quickly gained solid reputation thanks to the following pillars: reliability, transparency, knowledge of the music industry, and informal communication. The Metalist is promoted approximately 100 metal and rock bands per year and collaborates with some of the most exciting labels in the industry. Brilliant, guys. I hope I haven't garbled that and ruined it. You know, me reading and trying to do other things at the same time is not my best thing. I was reading from a different screen and I was worrying about where my audio levels were. See, there you go. Pro best, right? I need a second screen. Also, you know, it's like reading stuff out. Not the best of it. Anyway, enough of me gabbling. David is a nice guy. He's reached out to me a few times. You're going to hear a few of his songs in a few weeks coming from me and from the bands he promotes. And here you are with the fantastic lead single Clean from the album Ashes of Amber by Konowski. Enjoy.
Like a necklace, weight is leaving me breathless. the dirt off my hands. Help me understand before I run out of time. Help me clean all the dirt off my hands. Help me understand. I'm trying. Let me clean all the hurt off my hands. Help me understand before I run out of time. Help me clean all the dirt off my hands. Help me understand. I'm trying. Help me clean all the hurt from my hands. Help me understand before I run out of time.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that fantastic piece of music. I really enjoyed it. It's got everything in it, isn't it? It's got emotion, it's got heaviness, it's fast, it's clean. It's really just an interesting piece of music. And it's a really nice, refreshing change to all the pretty heavy, dark stuff that I tend to get my ears around every now and again. Anyway, so back to where we were. Riot City. As I said, as I made a mistake earlier, they're not from wherever I said, Quebec. They're from Calgary, Alberta in Canada. Formed in 2011 on No Remorse Records. They're a heavy speed metal band. They've released a couple of albums, a couple of live cassettes, and a demo. One single, Ghosts of Reality. Now, you've got Dustin Smith on drums. You've got Kale Savvy on guitar. You've got Roldan Reimer on guitar. You've got Jordan Jacobs on vocals. And on drums, you've got Jake Grassi. All right. And I know there was a different drummer live when we saw them. This is who recorded on the album. The drummer I saw live was an absolute madman. He was like watching Animal. It was like watching a drummer from it was like watching Motorhead again. It was absolutely fucking amazing. But anyway, the tracks are on this album. So this is the album I'm going to talk about. It's called Electric Elite. It's the second album. The reason I'm doing a second album and not the first one is because this is the one the band's promoted when they came over. This is the album I saw them play live. I bought a fantastic box set that came with a flexi single, 2 picture discs. A picture disc, a live cassette, live CD, only available in the box. It's just beautiful. Anyway, for me, now these are the tracks on the album. Okay, I'm gonna write down the bullet and be as it is. Right, Eye of the Jaguar, Beyond the Stars, Tyrant, Ghosts of Reality. That's side 1. And you flip it over and you get Return of the Force, Paris Nights, Lucky Diamond, and Severed Ties. Now, I did originally think I was going to go through every single track with an in-depth look of it musically, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you... I wrote all this down pre-COVID, by the way, straight after the gig, and I will give some highlights, but I think really what I want to say is if you want to spend your hard-earned dollar, shekel, pound, yen, ruble, Deutschmark, euro, Fernabule, as Douglas Adams would say, Fernabule Pobblebean. If you want to spend whatever currency you currently think you're using, you can't go far wrong with stuff like this. It's extremely well produced. It knows the direction it's going. It is not at all, any shape or form, not sure of what it is. There's no misdirection in any part of the album. Sometimes you get an album and it sort of wanders off somewhere and it doesn't quite know what it is because one of the members of the band's gone, hey man, let's do some classical stuff, man. Well, no, it's not one of those things, right? It is balls to the wall, unashamedly echoing Man of War, King Diamond, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, you name it. It's got it. It's got the badge on its jacket. It's got the T-shirt in its cupboard, and it's got all the record collection stuck away somewhere nice and safe. That's what it's got. It's sweaty. It's denim. It's fast. It's loud. It's just a distilled 40-something minutes of fun. And you cannot honestly say to my face, once you've heard this album, if you ever look me in the eyes and say, Tony, I don't understand, I'm like, what do you mean? Okay, I really mean this, listeners. If you've got this far in my show, thank you for staying with me, firstly. Not every album that you go to listen to, you're going to understand. Not every piece of music that you put in your ears, or between your ears, or on your stereo, is going to be something that at first you're going to instantly enjoy. I'm going to make the beer analogy. You're a young man, / young woman, / young whatever you choose to identify as, and you have beer. Now, most of the time, you'll go, oh, disgusting. I remember I did. Spat it out. But I bloody love a glass of beer now, because I understand it. Same with whiskey, same with everything. Same with fine art, same with fine foods. There is always something within the musical form, within that constraints of the notes, that are in the staves, that are in the structures, that you will enjoy. And this album has it in spades for me. It takes me back to a time when this sort of stuff was new for me. When I first put on Judas Priest with my brother, when I first heard, British Steel when I was a young boy. When I first heard Maiden, when I was walking past the school, the church, listening to Number of the Beast, thinking, I'm going to hell. Those moments, those joyous moments where suddenly the hair on the back of your neck stands up, your blood pumps and your soul races. And it. Now I'm an old man, right? I'm an older man, I should say. But when I was at that gig last Saturday night, and when I put this album on, I'm 19. Simple as that. You don't need the Fountain of Youth. You don't need Everlasting Drugs. You need this. And everyone's thing is different. It might be for you a different elixir of life, but this is my elixir of life. And I think it is for a lot of us. And this is what you get from this album. It's like a vinyl injection of fun and speed right into your oral vein, right? Right into there, okay? It has gallops. So, you can listen to Beyond the Stars, and you get straight away, you get a Steve Harris gallop jumping right out of the gates at you, right? Like a stallion being held back. You got either Jaguar, brilliant sing-along, titanic lyric, with blistering solos and infectious driving beat, right? It's just audacious. It's one of the highlights of the album, straight out. And I think, honestly, it's one of the highlights of Jacob's vocals. How he is not considered one of the greatest vocalists on the planet right now is absolutely beyond me. He made a small room in a tiny little capital city on the other side of the world. He made those notes. He hit those notes. Are we not giving himself a bloody hernia? I have absolutely no idea. But he really belted them out. And he does it on the album, right? Then you've got Tyrant. You've got this brilliant, brilliant track, Tyrant. It's big. It's thunderous. It's deep. It's got a brilliant sing-along, right? And I've got big, and I've put them big letters, big sing-along. The solos are inventive and catchy and fast. And they're bloody fast as well, right? The backing vocals are well balanced. The bass player who does the backing vocals, he can really belt a tune, all right? Even when slipping all over stage in four very sweaty dudes, fluids, and beer and whatever. It was just, it really has a real sort of King Diamond-esque feel, that particular track. And then we got Ghosts of Reality, right? I've written it's atmospheric, and it's atmospheric. It's, I said that, like, hey man, let's do some interesting stuff, man. That's not what, when I say that on this, I don't mean that. I mean, it makes your hair stand up slightly. It's a little bit of an anticipation of, it's like hearing a knock on the door at night when you're on your own in the house and you don't know who it is. That sense of anxiety, but you're going to open the door. You're going to look. And you know what's going to happen. There's either nothing there or you're going to scream. And that's how it feels with this, all right? It's a softer mix. It clips a little, if I'm going to be negative about that slightly. But that's just me being, very, very picky. It has a very spatial feel, very tundra-esque feel, very Canadian feel. If this is Canadian speed metal, then bring it on. Let's have more of it. I know that their counterparts are coming out later in the year, Kirith Ungol. They're not speed metal, but they're traditional metal, and I cannot wait for them to come. They're one of those bands I've always wanted to see, and to be fair, having them in the basement is going to be fucking crazy. Even when it slows down, I've seen Ghost of Reality seems to still drives your head into the back of the wall, right? It's a powerful, powerful piece of music. And then we get Return of the Force. The guitars on this really shine out. The dual guitar is very melodic. It's got a beautiful chorus, which is it's hard to pick sometimes in speed metal because it's so clean, so precise, so intricate and so fast that you often miss the melody in it. That's why I'm not a massive lover of Dragon Force. I like it in small doses, but after a while it just becomes blip-blop noises. And sorry, some more tea there for my fan doesn't like it. It does make me feel like I want to play air guitar. I've made a note there. I said I did feel like I needed to play air guitar, but with insane speed. It's probably one of the fastest tracks on the album. It's got a cathedral-esque sound to it. It's definitely full force. It's a sort of solo metal that metal was made for. That's why I wrote it there. See, there's a punchline for you. And then we're getting on to Paris Nights. Now, he played this live, and I was apprehensive because it's... look, I think this album is full killer, no filler. Of course, there are some tracks I go... There always one, right? This one is Paris Nights. Now, it's a sing-along song. I get it, right? Now, I'm not going to go about the lyrics as I normally do with these shows because this is speed metal. I want you just to listen to it. I want you to get into the spirit of the music, the feel of the wind rushing through your hair as it whooshes past you, and then you pull the lyrics up yourself and have a read, right? As I said, I've written here, this is 1984. It's brilliantly blatant tribute to all the great speed metal bands. It really is. It's like, it feels... Now, I did write this, so I did, at one point, I do like this song. I've written, it reminds me of Michael Schenkner Group, which is a very big compliment, because everyone knows me well, knows how much I love MSG, and I don't mean that stuff they put in Chinese takeaways that make you want to eat more, but, feel full and eat less. You know what I mean? I'm talking about not monosodium glutamate, which is there on the bottom of the packet under Crunchy Frog. Now, there's a Monty Python hint for you. No, it's MSG, so the Michael Schenkner Group, the wonderful guitarist from the Scorpions. All right, he of the black and white flying V guitar. We all covet. It's got a nice bluesy solo, trading guitars with each other. It's very anthemaic because it's got a good sing along. Okay, and the outro. Okay, the solo and the outro makes this song for me. It's a solo where you don't expect it. You get into it, you're really getting into it, and suddenly the song ends. The solo just ends, and it's the end of the song. And you think, shouldn't there be some kind of, relaxation and a cigarette kind of moment? But, roll over and congratulate ourselves moment, glorify in our glow, as they say. No, it just ends rather abruptly, which is another good old innuendo. In your endo. Anyway, brilliant. I mean, I said it's not my favourite, but it's still a fantastic track. And then we got Lucky Diamonds. Now, Lucky Diamond as a live number, I thought was one of my favourites on the night. Again, I've written in big red letters, Gallop, Gallop, Gallop. It's groovy, very, very groovy. It's a party number. It's a real bass-driven piece. The bass guitarist and backing vocalist, he's he can play his instrument. Very few bass players these days in most genres of music are as prevalent as they should be. I personally am going to do a show on bass players. I know it's going to bore the crap out of you non-bass players, but I've planned it for the future this year. And anyway, being a member of the bass playing union, it's all high tops and, you know, bouncy guitar and fun and jumping around, but he really holds that root bass line and he plays around in that area, and he doesn't just, you know, play the old boring one octave below and away you go. He's there and having fun. And man, live he's amazing. He was all over the stage. At one point, I think he trod on my fingers, standing on the edge. But you know, hey, that's rock and roll for you, baby. That's rock and roll. Yeah, it's got a really good drum. There is a drum solo live, and it's a drum solo on the album as well. Now, most people roll their eyes at drum solos. They go, "Oh God, a drum solo!" But imagine Animal from the Muppets splashing around on a reasonable sized kit. And what a dude he was. We were talking to him before the show. I had my foot on a guitar case, like trying to steady myself during the night, and it turns out it was one of the band's cases. And he was really lovely. He goes, "A, you know, A, is that my case A?" And that's my terrible Canadian accent. I will stop doing that now so I don't alienate my lovely friends over in Canada. But such a dude, you know, such a dude. And I mean, and this for the ladies, by the time the end of the night was over, most of them were down to just their jeans. It was that hot and sweaty. I will try and remember to put some pictures up in the show notes. I always say it and I always forget, don't I, guys? But yeah, brilliant number. Now we end. Sadly, the album has to come to an end, doesn't it? It has to come to an end, but it comes to end in Severed Ties. Now, a brilliant story about this. Jake was saying that this is their Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner moment, right? It's their longest song, you know, and, you know, there was always, oh, and then you imagine the light is out, and, you know, it's going to be, because, oh, but it's not as long as Mariner, and then he sort of kept saying, but, you know, it's a moment to get together and enjoy, and it basically... he drops down and brings his vocal down in this one. So where he's always sitting up in this incredible octaves, he's more subtle in this particular track because it is about, I think, I mean, I'm going to take a stab at this without too depth of look at the lyrics. It sounds like a relationship breakup. I mean, to say, or a band breakup, who knows? Severed Ties is the name of the song. It's got a real Dio vibe vocally. Also, a very Tony Martin sound, and that's a big compliment for me because I fucking love Tony Martin era Black Sabbath and all of Tony Martin's solo albums, and as you know, and so he has that real kind of windswept, tundrad sound, as I said before. He sits in with the greats. He really does. Halford, Dio, you know, Martin. I've said it before. I just think, wow. And then it sort of. Here's this really good Dickinson moment, and then it breaks into a really bouncy and brilliant headbanging number where one moment it's quiet, just like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, you know, do 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 do, and then bang, you're into some really heavy, fast, fucking wonderful music. It's very Adrian Smith, it's very Dave Murray. It's got a real haunting solo in it. Okay, I've written a haunting solo. And the bass is very Steve Harris. I mean, I don't want to keep saying people sound like this and people do this and people do that because that's unfair to the band because they have their own sound. But they clearly know where they're coming from. They know their influence. They know where they sit, and that's what you get with them. And it is just a stunning piece of music. You can get it from their Bandcamp site. You can stream it on all good streaming platforms. You can go to their Facebook page. You can jump on YouTube and watch them. You can do it any way you like now, baby. Any way you like. There's no restrictions anymore. You can even buy cassettes, which I have, and I've very enjoyed. I mean, I've got this. I got it at the gig. It was only released in Australia via the gigs. Let me just reach for it. Oh, sorry, it's in front of me. It's Riot City live in Newcastle, and that's Newcastle in the UK on the 4th of the 5th, 2023. And they ended the gig the other night with all the bands of the night got on the stage, and I had an incredible moment. They did "See You in Hell, My Friend" by Grim Reaper, and they all sang it. And it, Grim Reaper for me is one of the bands that started me on the path of my love for this and for doing this show. And I adore Grim Reaper. And I know I've never done a Grim Reaper album, and I will do. I absolutely will do. It was just mind blowing, right? And the good thing about it is, on this live cassette that I've got, you don't get that particular one, but you get their version of it on the other side of the world in the UK, and it is sensational. And to hear them do justice to that brilliant song is something really, really important, and it just shows you their love for the genre. It's an absolutely cracking album, and I recommend all of their albums. But honestly, if you want one to jump in straight away and try it, as I said, their new album, which is just an absolute, Electric Elite. The artwork is wonderful. The t-shirts, their artwork is brilliant. It's very retro 80s. It screams new wave of British heavy metal. Honestly, it really does in some respect. They tattoo it on their arm. They have it on their sleeves. They've got it on their banner, and they don't give a fuck. And that is what rock and roll is about. And honestly, I cannot wait to see them again. I really hope they get back over here. I hope they had enough fun to do it again, because they wouldn't make millions out of this tour. They certainly wouldn't, but they might sell some more records. And hopefully, with this show going out around the world and people listening to this stupid mug's voice blurbling all about it, for me, this is an 11 on the Millsy meter. It goes out, and all of a sudden the mercury's all over the floor. It's exploded the meter. It is an absolute cracker of an album. All killer, no filler. Genuine, 10 out of 10. I've absolutely loved playing every single format: vinyl, cassette, CD. It's been fantastic. It's just brilliant. Any way you want to shake it, you can get it. So that's Riot City. I really hope. Also, just a quick shout out. Thank you to Your Mate Bookings, who brought them out. They're also bringing out Kryptos, and I believe Kirith Ungul coming out with them as well. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, you guys. It was a brilliant night, and for such a small outlay. We need to be putting the price of tickets up, not bringing it down. If we want our bands, the bands that we love, i.e. Riot City, to tour the world, come to countries like us, and we are on the other side of the world, we need to be paying a bit more. I don't mind being more expensive behind the hard bar. I don't mind merch being a little bit more expensive. That's, that you buy merch when you go to a gig, you don't have to, but you have to buy a ticket to get in. And I think that if we're going to keep the industry and music alive, the opposite is better than the don't go cheap. Charge what is relevant. I still think, and I'm advocate of pay what you want, as long as the cover fee is paid. If your cover fee for the gig is $40, fine. But if you want to pay more, there should be a little link where it says pay more, and I would happily drop another $20, $30, even $40 on that gig price quite comfortably and not blink an eye at it. And I think this is what we should be doing, because just like Bandcamp, basically Bandcamp for live music. As long as the basics are covered, let's give the band what they bloody deserve. And they should have an option that once the show's finished and you walk away, you get an SMS and you say, how does the show, would you like to pay some more? And you go, yeah, that was amazing. Let's give them an extra 20. Like a tip, even. You know what I mean? If you know, and if bands feel that might be a bit disheartening because no one does it, well, that doesn't matter. You know, they still turned up your gig and paid the cover price. It's not about feel good. It's about people that can afford it to make it easier for you that can't. You know what I mean? Because the more we do that, in theory, the more money the bands make, the more feasible that we can bring the price down, right? Because then bands are making more money, because instead of 20 people being at the gig, 100 people are at the gig. All right? Anyway, if I could change the world, I would. You know me, guys. Anyway, that's me for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do go and grab Riot City. I hope you enjoyed Kronowski and Clean. It was a new thing for me. So I really hope you'd enjoy it. I'm going to try and do a bit more of that in the future. Just jump in some tracks where I can. I'm allowed to do it with copyright. They gave me permission. So brilliant. Their stuff is available. Hang on, I'll tell you when it's available. I would tell you, but I don't have a release date that I can see. Anyway, it's coming out soon. Keep me ear to the ground for it. I'm sure it'll be on every streaming platform available, in all good music press. Again, it's one of those underground kind of bits of music you probably would have never have thought about listening to, but now you have if you've stuck with us. Thanks for doing so. Thanks, David, for letting me play that. Thanks, Kronowski, for letting me play it as well. And yeah, see you next week. Bye for now.